Kalispera. Είμαι ο Isaak Tsalicoglou. Good evening, Singapore. Good evening, everyone. My name is Isaak, and I'm head of product management. And those of you who follow me on social media will not be surprised to know that I will talk about Proceq GPR Live. 20 trillion kilograms of concrete are poured every single year. Can you even imagine the number? 20 trillion, many zeros, kilograms. Now, that's a lot of concrete. That's a lot of structures, too. And in all those structures, there's stuff we need to find. Rebars, conduits, cables, pipes, voids, you name it. To find those quickly, reliably, and efficiently, now that's a big challenge. There are many technologies to do so, and GPR among them is by far the most popular. And as you see here, it's because it is super fast and relatively simple. The way it works is that you roll the probe on the concrete. As you saw, it sends radar waves, and these bounce off of targets. For example, rebar, as shown here. And when you put together all of those nice reflections, you end up with this classical image, which is called a hyperbola. So vice versa, wherever you find hyperbolas, there is something. In that case, it's rebar. Many years ago, or a few years ago, actually, we wanted to get into this space, and we went out to look at competitor instruments and how the market has been for many years. And I would call it a bit stagnant, to put it simply. But we didn't stop there. We wanted to understand how people use that equipment. And to summarize the user experience in one word, confusion. And the confusion begins when you want to get into this business and become a concrete inspector with GPR. Because the problem that people were facing prior to 2017 is that they had to pick among many different solutions, primary difference, kind of the color of the device, but also the depth to which they can see within concrete. And the biggest problem, something called frequency. And the dilemma was, should I pick the low frequency one or the high frequency one? Should I pick one of those or two or all of them? Do you even have money for all of them? Probably not, because they're also quite pricey. And you know what? This is a pointless dilemma. And that's why in 2017, we released one device with all frequencies you'll ever need to scan concrete with GPR. Our unique technology means that nowadays there's only one choice: Proceq GPR Live. And thanks to this technology, we do something that others cannot. We envelope all of those products you saw, and many more. And that's why you can stop caring about frequency when you scan with GPR. And the bandwidth, the true ultra-wideband we have, is only half the story. It's also about an extremely higher signal-to-noise ratio we offer, thanks to this unique technology. And this means that for the first time ever, you can do with GPR things that you could not do before, because you can look within concrete deeper and clearer at the same time. And that's a true technological breakthrough. And that's it. You have powerful, high-performance sensors made in Switzerland, high quality, together with what? With user-friendly apps running on iPad that offer very high productivity workflows and incredible visualization opportunities. And together, that is the very definition of Proceq GPR Live. The product is built around you. Because when you scan for many hours, you make your living out of being a concrete inspector, you certainly want to feel comfortable and in control. But you know, so far we talked about hardware. And you heard before, it's also about the software. And while the hardware is amazing, what has become a massive hit is our Proceq GPR Live app for iPad. It has become very popular. You can download it actually right now, because it is very user-friendly, and it offers visualization opportunities that before you had to use a computer for. So let us look at some data. I talked earlier about hyperbolas, right? And this is a bunch of hyperbolas. And all this is obviously rebar within concrete, every single little shape there. But that's not the only thing you can see here. You can also see the back wall of the concrete slab. You can see deeper transitions between concrete and soil, perhaps. And you can also see what we call live wire data, so the signal from cables that have power and lie within concrete, because trust me, you really want to avoid hitting those when you drill. And because we have a very, very user-friendly app full of gestures, if I want to not look at those images, which are rather expert images, but look at something more photographic in nature, all I need to do is to swipe down with 2 fingers on the screen. Which means when I do this on the screen, I switch to what is called the Migrator View, which in the past used to take computers and algorithms to do and run for some minutes to get it done. Now you have it at your fingertips. But that's also not always the best view of data. Because if I want to avoid hitting rebar and pipes and cables, what I want to actually do is to look down. I want to view the concrete slab from above. In this case, I'm not giving you a prize for guessing what I do. I 2-finger swipe, and I have the area view. And this means I look at the first 5 centimeters here of the concrete, and I can already discern those 3 rebars you saw before. But I would like to go deeper. So I just change the slider, and I see the second layer too. But maybe there's even more there. So I change the slider once more. OK. That looks a bit complicated. And for some weird reason, competitors call that the 3D view. But it isn't. It's 2D. What if I would like to look into concrete as if it's right in front of me? So boom. In 2017, we launched the world's first on-site 3D view that you can touch, rotate, pinch, zoom, do whatever you want. It's really everything you know how to do with your smartphone, you can do on your iPad. And I would say, proudly, another company would have said, that's good, we did it. We're done now. But we wanted to take it one step further, and in fact, to the next level. And that's why we unleashed the power of augmented reality for inspection workflows. And you know what it looks like? It looks like joy. Because that is what I call the AR smile. Every single person who has ever used this feature for the first time, they love it. When is the last time you heard of an NDT product that gives you joy? So that's also not something that we show you as a demo or like a concept. You can use it now. You can go download it. I can show you outside if you meet me. And that's to demonstrate that's the view through my iPad at the last World of Concrete in Las Vegas. As you can see, it's bulletproof. It's solid, it's stable, and it's very easy to communicate what you found, but also to identify where to drill. You don't need any paper anymore. Remember the previous story? Paper-driven industry, not anymore in GPR. Very cool feature, but not the only one we launched since we launched the product. This is just a handful of those feature upgrades we launched that have expanded functionality for our customers. And that's why we say with us, what you see now is just the beginning. And what you also see now, today, tonight, is still just the beginning. What has the customer response been to that? Unsurprisingly, it has been immense. We're talking about being inundated with requests for features, for demos, for invoices, for offers, for everything, to the extent that the product has gone viral a couple of times on LinkedIn, and it has reached an audience that never even knew that GPR exists. That's how we also enlarge the market with our products. And in fact, over time, we realized that some people do not use this for concrete scanning. They also scan pavement with it. Why would you scan pavement? So people started to ask, is it possible to locate underground utilities? We thought we cannot sit idly by. And so we did what we do best. We went out there, we observed our customers, we looked at their pain points, and we identified that many of them have been unserved for many, many years. But we also figured out that in the year 2019, if you believe it, there is still a dire need to locate underground utilities. Again, reliably, efficiently. Why is that important? Most of us never see that picture. Let's take a look at Singapore. Beautiful city, majestic, metropolitan, dynamic, exciting, advanced. And we all see just the surface, what's above the surface. Fantastic buildings. But what powers this whole place is what lies beneath. We're talking about telecommunication cables, power cables, water pipes, you name it. So if you want to grow, enlarge the city, expand, you need to dig. Which is why knowing where exactly to dig and what not to hit is important for avoiding accidents, avoiding damages, and avoiding service disruptions. But still, most of you do not know, and I also did not know it up until some time ago, that globally, once every minute, there is one so-called utility strike. And the fact that we don't know this, and that we just treat it as normal, is a bit silly, to say the least. Huh? And that's not the only thing that's silly about the underground utility locating space. Because what you saw before from the concrete GPR space before 2017 is exactly the same in that space too, here. Multiple colors, pick your color, pick your depth, pick your frequency. So you know what? They're all traditional pulsed GPR devices, and they are ripe for disruption. And that's also something we do quite well. Which means, once again, one device, all frequencies that you'll ever need for underground utility locating. And here it is. We're delighted to introduce to you our inspection solution for subsurface imaging. And let us start the tour of this product with the hardware. The hardware is carefully engineered around you, around the user, because we want you to go places that you have not been able to go before. We want you to go anywhere effortlessly. So we have made it super easy to use, and we have made it very ergonomic, no matter how you like to scan and handle it. We also want you to never have to interrupt a measurement because your equipment broke down or your battery ran out and you need to change this and attach cables and all that stuff, which means we have dual redundant encoders, for example, as well as hot swappable battery packs. And because there's a tendency in this space to differentiate between expert equipment and easy equipment and lower the barrier, as some people call it, we want you to go anywhere, and that means you have a very rugged enclosure together with a mechanism to raise and lower the antenna so that you can go both on pavement and off-road with one device, which, by the way, has all the frequencies. I don't know if I mentioned this, right? And would you like to see it? Sure. It's there, and it's also there. And of course, this is not the full story. Once again, this is merely the beginning, and that's the hardware, which is great, it's fantastic. I'm a mechanical engineer, so I also like hardware. But you know what else I really like? Proceq GPR Live. And our new app is based around everything you love. Proceq GPR Live for concrete scanning. So if you know it and love it, you love this one too. Therefore, let us look at some data. Data is important when doing this job. Everyone we've shown that data to, every expert who has seen that, has been astonished. Because you typically do not expect to see that clarity at this depth. Look at this here, everything. Shallow reflectors, medium depth reflectors, or what even an expert told me, wow, you actually see hyperbolas that deep? That's like a sight to behold. Or even soil transition layers. Everything is imaged clearly. And we're very proud that we use no filters, we have no artifacts, we don't have any noise, none of that pulsed GPR nonsense, if you ask me. And another thing that people don't know is that most of the utilities are buried within the first 1.5 to 2 meters. So we should not get too carried away by what many competitors claim as 10 meters and things that actually are irrelevant. For us, we find it's important for you to see really clearly. So if I want to see super clearly what's happening up there, I just slide down, and now I see the first depth at ultra high resolution. And that's a very big deal, because we have been talking about locating utilities. But here, we do something nobody else has done before. Ladies and gentlemen, we're not locating utilities. We're now counting them. And that means that because we run still on the same Proceq GPR live app style philosophy, however you name it, if you want to look at this really well, pinch and zoom to your heart's content, slide your fingers down the screen and get Migrator View on the spot, and there you have it. Everything you know and love once again. And that's why I'm pretty sure you're excited to know when you get this product in your hands. And trust me, we're working with full focus to give this to you as soon as possible. But if I were you, I would mark my calendar, pencil in that rough date of summer 2020. And especially if you cannot wait, I suggest you meet me outside right after the keynote, because if you're a government organization or a business that wants to image the underground with safety and at the same time be at the cutting edge of technology, we have some pretty cool collaboration opportunities for you. So, as you can tell, around 2 years ago, we burst into the scene with Concrete GPR, with Proceq GPR Live, and we became really rapidly, really fast, the industry standard, the new industry standard, which had remained untouched for decades. Now, we are poised to create the new industry standard in the underground utility locating space and to raise the barrier once again. So, Proceq GPR Live, once again, the best. Thank you. However, I have to say, we started with some other things. We went to concrete. Now we veered off into the underground. And I think we should bring it back to concrete. And for that, we need to look at another product. And if you think I'm enthusiastic and excited about this product, then just wait until you meet my Brazilian colleague with Italian roots, Giovanni. Come on and tell us about Pandit. Here you go.
Thank you, Isaak.